Hello, everyone, and welcome to Satellite House. I'm Evan.
I'm Jason.
And today, episode 4. So, something that we were talking about a little bit before the podcast is r/place, the whole collaborative artwork on Reddit. What do you think were some of the most interesting things you saw on r/place, do you think?
I think the most interesting thing was there was no nudity. That surprised me.
I feel like that would have had to get taken down because of like Reddit's community guidelines, because I think the whole idea was to like publish this as like a work of art for the internet or something, right? So they probably didn't want any pornography on there.
Yeah, so that means they were actively moderating it or something like that. Like, I'm surprised there was not like a huge penis on it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
half of Reddit is basically that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
no,
I'm
you're
surprised
right.
that
You're
happened.
right.
And then I like the part where Germany decided it would take up the entire width of the place.
Yeah. No, and the French built that big like kind of mural thing in the bottom left.
What was the French mural?
I think they had a mural of like the Eiffel Tower on top of the French flag. It was pretty cool. So I saw so many countries on there. It was really kind of cool to see like everybody putting like a bunch of stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my favorite subreddits are on there, like r/Dogecoin. Never getting my money back from that. But you know what? It's actually been doing pretty well over the last week, which is kind of weird. The price of Dogecoin is sort of like jumping a bit. Have you heard anything about this, Jason?
I mean, I pay attention to it a little bit. I similar to you, I own Dogecoin, and I bought it at a bad time, so I'm losing money in it. But I bought it honestly because of Elon Musk. So earlier this week, obviously Elon Musk bought, what was it, 9.10%?
9.2%.
9.2%. Why did you think Elon bought it? Because there's a lot of people talking about it. That was like the biggest news of this week.
Okay, so I personally believe that Elon Musk bought that share in Twitter because he wants to be able to say what he wants to say, and Twitter is notorious for not letting people say what they want to say. And I feel like if he owns this large of a chunk of Twitter, like they kind of have to, right? That he's not worried about getting his account suspended. He's not worried about being kicked off Twitter like Trump was. Like, he can say whatever the fuck he wants now. And you know why? He needs that, because so much of his popularity and his following is because of his Twitter account. Like, how many people follow other billionaires the way that they follow Elon Musk? Like, nobody gives a shit about Jeff Bezos. Like, nobody's like, ooh, Jeff Bezos is such a cool guy. Like, anytime that you hear his name come out of anybody's mouth, it's related to something terrible, right? Whereas like Elon has a whole cult of like these Tesla bros who love him to death. Like they can't get enough Elon.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely because he has an active Twitter account.
He posts great memes, and I know you're a big fan of memes.
I am a big fan of memes. I think Elon is an okay memer. I wouldn't say that he's like a super great memer, but for a billionaire, he's cooler than any other billionaire. So,
One thing about Elon that I find interesting is that guy has a lot of kids. Do you know he has like something like
he has like six kids,
and they're all like sons.
Yeah.
And then all boys, I mean. And then also more recently his newest born son is like, what's his name? Like
X/A12.
X/A12, like some weird name, and there was a bunch of memes about him. And then he's actually very big on people not having enough sex. Like he's like, we need to make sure we're populating the earth because so many of the developing countries in the world are actually seeing declining birth rates.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. A lot of developed countries are reaching peaks in their population pyramids, and we're only going to get lower levels of population from here, especially in working age categories, which is definitely not good for a country. And I think Elon's very aware of that, so that's why he's got to encourage everybody to like get it on.
Yeah, let's talk about like repopulation and that kind of stuff. I know one country that pops up to my mind. The first thing that I hear about declining birth rate is Japan.
Yeah, Japan is a really interesting story in their demographics because like they're fully just getting old and they're not doing anything about it. Most developed countries have declining natural birth rates and they usually use immigration to
Hmm.
solve this problem. But Japan refuses. They don't have a high immigration rate. In fact, they choose to keep it very low.
Hmm.
And it's very strange that they do this because they're not going to be able to keep up their population on their own. And that leads to a high dependency ratio, which is where the ratio of people who are working to the people who are not working. So, say like children, right? So, when you have a lot of children or a lot of old people, you have a really high dependency ratio, and that's not good because it means that there's more strain on the average worker to feed their family than in a country where the dependency ratio is really low. So, Japan, I think their solution to this sort of problem is automation. I think this is why
Hmm.
Japan really focuses so heavily on tech, is because they know that robotics and automation and other things like that are going to be a solution to their um, declining working age population.
Why do you think that all of these developing countries, their birth rates are going down? What's the cause of that?
So, throughout history, there's been um, sort of five distinct periods in population and demographic patterns. So, in stage one, we had like the very pre industrial era. Um, Death rates were high, birth rates were also high. And then you sort of move into this like second era during the industrial age when people could afford to have more kids because they knew that they're or sorry that no they would have more kids. No, they didn't. They had the same amount. I'm sorry, they had the same amount of kids,
Hmm.
but the death rate rapidly dropped off because industrial automation brought things like better quality of life. People didn't die in infancy so often, so the population like rapidly increases, right? Huge increases in population.
Part of the reason why birth rates are going so low is that Japan, or like, why what are like the social reasonings though? Why aren't people having more kids? Because
Oh,
like, is it like
because it's expensive to have
yeah,
children.
expensive?
It's very expensive. It's also very time consuming, and I'd say Japanese culture around work is so achievement focused that people will often have an incredibly long work week in Japan, an incredibly stressful one, and I think it's probably hard for all of those people to want to have children because they know they won't have the amount of time to spend with their children that they would need to. If you get up early every day and you go to work and you still get home at like 8 or 9 o'clock because of how much you work, you can't take care of a child. You don't have the time for it. It's not possible. So I feel like that's probably at least a sizable factor in that. It would be for me.
Hmm. Evan, I know that you mentioned that you don't have like, for Japanese people, a lot of Japanese people, they can't afford the time to have children. That's why they don't have children. I uh, I have a question for you. I know it's a little bit personal. Um, it's your stance on children. So, like, what are your thoughts or opinions? What, do you want to have kids one day, or like, do you not?
Personally, my opinion is I'm only ever gonna have kids if I have a husband who makes me have kids. Um, I I'm sorry, hot takes. I'm a person who finds children annoying, and they're a lot of effort, and you don't get a lot out of them. I'm sorry, you don't.
You don't
Like,
find them cute?
no.
What if like a really chubby baby? You don't want to like squeeze
No,
the cheeks
no,
and
I
like burp
don't.
the
I don't want to
baby and
touch
like
it. It's because you know
cuddle with
what? That's a
it.
big ball of germs. No, thank you.
Are you gonna do that thing where what celebrities do?
What? Adopt a foreign child?
No, no, not. You're not gonna pull an Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. You're gonna pull. I forgot which celebrity couple did this, but what they did was they both had semen, right, and they mixed it, and then they like inserted the
No,
semen
I'm not
into the
doing
egg, so
that.
like
That's
it's
nope,
50-50 chance, and
nope,
then like you're mixing the kid.
nope,
Like it's either you or
nope,
your partner,
nope,
something like that.
nope. It can be his
It
kid.
could be his. So your family line ends with you then.
Yeah, that's okay with
That's
me.
the bloodline.
I'm okay with
Thousands of
that.
years.
That's fine.
Okay.
Honestly, I have depression running in my family, so what do I really want to raise a kid just so that they can suffer? Like why would I subject somebody to that involuntarily?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel that it would be fair of me to do that, so I'm not going to.
Well, I feel very privileged to meet the last of the Evans, the last of your line.
No, but what if I'm gonna make him take my last name, but it's the Oliver family name will continue.
Okay. Well, awesome. Did you have any other topics you want to talk about? 'Cause I'm
Um,
all out.
I don't know. Well, you sort of asked me like my thoughts on children, and obviously I've told you my thoughts for myself. But if you mean like for society, like if in a sort of broader sense, I think yeah, definitely in the Western world we need to up our birth rates. Get on it, straight people. Have more children. Because otherwise, the few people who do have kids, those people are gonna have a really really hard time.
Elon Musk would be very proud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as Elon would tell everyone, get it on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're a big you. Would you consider yourself a big fan of Elon Musk? I think you kind of are.
Yeah. Ever since I listened to Elon Musk's podcast, listening him talk to Joe Rogan, I've been a big fan of him. He like works very hard. He wants to progress humanity. He's a big fan of humanity. And one big part that I really respect is his work with Tesla. Um, our guest originally, upcoming guest is going to be a person that's very into sustainability and climate change.
Hmm.
And I would say, personally, for myself, I am somebody who is very involved or I very much care about our planet and sustainability and everything like that. And I think with Elon Musk, he really started the whole or revitalized the electric car industry, and he's made electric cars cool. And before Tesla, it wasn't really very popular because way back when, you can correct me on this, the oil and gas and car companies lobbied the electric car systems or a long time ago out of existence because they were like they saw it as a threat to their gas powered cars. What's interesting is I talked about this in my class today, Elon Musk and cars and electric cars and stuff. So yeah, but what can you tell me about that?
Um, so it was actually well one of the classic story is of the GM EV1, which was when GM, better known as Chevy or Chevrolet to everybody who doesn't know car companies, they made this car back in the 90s, I think, called the EV1, and it was an electric car and it was really good. People liked it. They only leased them to people. They didn't sell them. And so when the leases came up and people said, "Oh, I want to continue. I want this. I want this car. I want to keep this car." GM said, "No." And they brought back every single one of them and they destroyed all of them. They are all gone. There is not a single one left. And the reason that they did that is because they felt that it could stop them from making as much money, um, because they're a company that makes gas powered cars, and they didn't want the idea of electric cars being successful. They didn't want Tesla to exist, right?
Wow.
This before Tesla would even exist. they didn't want something like that. No electric competitors, because if electric car technology doesn't exist, then how can anybody do it? Because it's very expensive to build a car platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it costs them hundreds of millions of dollars to create a platform, which is why they want their cars to sell well, because if they don't, then you've wasted, you know, millions of dollars on development that goes to waste.
Yeah. When did you say this was?
I thought it was the 90s. When was it actually?
Yeah, I pulled up the Wikipedia page here. I mean, look at this thing. This looks kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad looking car. It wasn't disgusting.
Yeah, 1996 to 1999.
Yeah, see that, there you go. It was the 90s.
So the GM, some scientists, some R&D department designed this car, and then it shut it down, like the upper executives.
Yeah, they shut it down.
Oh my god. Oh, so but I mean, a bunch of these were created though.
Yeah, they made a lot of them and they leased them all and then they destroyed them all.
Oh, I see. Look at this. Yeah, EV1 was made available through limited lease only agreements, initially to the residents of cities of Los Angeles, Phoenix, Tucson. How do you say that word? Tucson.
Hmm.
Real world engineering evaluation and marketing study. This is all very interesting.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating story. If you're interested in automotive history or electric car history or environmental activism sort of history, this is a fascinating story.
Yeah, I mean, look at this picture.
Yeah.
It looks futuristic. It looks cool.
It was a very sci-fi looking car.
Yeah.
A very 90s picture of sci-fi too.
Yeah.
Because you can, oh man, you can see the 90s. That thing reeks of the 90s.
Yeah.
But people
console.
liked it. People liked it. They thought it was a good car, and they didn't want to give it up. And GM
The
forced
console,
them to.
the center console is very 90s. Look
Oh
at that.
yeah,
There's so
that's
many buttons.
super 90s.
But like, yeah, I mean, I definitely wish I had a electric car right now, given the freaking gas prices.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely wild here in
Yeah,
California.
I'm sure everyone wants a freaking electric car right
Oh,
now.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But you know what? If everybody had an electric car right now, if tomorrow we snapped our fingers and everybody had an electric car, the price for electricity would shoot up dramatically because everybody would be charging their cars. And so right now there's not enough electricity supply
Oh, really?
I mean there wouldn't be to satisfy charging all of those cars.
Okay.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So the price of electricity would shoot up. So it really wouldn't fix it for everyone. The best solution is for a shift to electric cars, but also an increase in electric generation capability, which is why Elon sells the solar roof and those like Tesla battery packs that you can put in your house so that you can charge your Tesla without worrying about that.
Yeah, in the future, if I ever own a house or whatever, I'm definitely putting solar panels on it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it pays for itself. That is, if you have to pay for it, because a lot of times there's like federal or state grants and stuff.
Oh,
whoa. And they can make it free.
No, that's awesome.
So
I know that the S-Rack has, our school's gym has a bunch of solar panels on top.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of or at least I'm not sure if it's all Walmart stores, but a lot of Walmart stores have solar panels on their roofs. The one in my hometown has a whole bunch. And you can kind of see it from like Google Earth. So it's sort of interesting. I think it's good that any building that covers a large square footage should definitely have solar panels on it, because essentially what you've got is a big flat white roof anyway, so you may as well cover it in solar panels.
How do you feel about the critics of like solar panels and things that say, or electric cars, that the carbon emissions from creating electric cars or the carbon emissions from creating solar panels is greater than the lifetime of the gas emitted from a gasoline car, traditional gasoline car?
Well, I'm sure to some extent that may be true in specific circumstances. Say for example, if you manufacture your solar panels using equipment that's entirely powered by diesel engines, yeah, maybe that's possible. Or if they run off electricity that's produced in a country that has a really carbon intensive energy mix. Um, but if you, I think once we're able to use clean power to manufacture clean energy systems, I think the benefits will compound there, and you'll be able to have less carbon
Mm-hmm.
emissions. And I think even if it takes a lot of carbon emission to produce something, the economies of scale might reduce that in the long term. Um, you know, everything is expensive and difficult to produce when you make only one. But when you make a lot, then you can really bring efficiencies up. And so if as industrial and manufacturing technologies improve, for those specific systems like wind turbines and solar panels and whatnot, their efficiency and energy efficiency will improve. Because realistically, companies have an incentive to be as energy efficient as possible because they don't want to pay a higher electric bill or a higher fuel bill or anything like that. It's sort of interesting. Something that it reminds me of is in the airline industry, um, airlines have an incentive to be as green as possible because fuel is one of their largest expenses. In fact, it is the largest expense for most airlines. And so they will they will maintain a fleet of aircraft that is like less than 5 years old, just so that they have the newest, latest, most fuel efficient engines. Like Ryanair and like Southwest and companies like that, they only fly the newest generation of 737s because they're the most fuel efficient. Like they don't fly old planes. You don't see old planes a lot in the sky because new ones are so much more efficient that it justifies spending the tens of millions of dollars to buy the new plane, which is crazy.
I wonder if there's gonna ever be electric planes. Is that a thing?
It is a thing. I saw a video about how on very short haul subsidized routes, it's actually more profitable to use an electric plane than a conventionally powered plane.
Yeah, but obviously, I think technology isn't there yet, or something, or nobody has ever done it. I
It
don't
is
know.
it is a thing on very small scales, but most of the electric planes are in very very limited production,
Mm-hmm.
and they're usually prototypes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool companies out there that are trying to make electric planes a thing. Like I believe it's Aptera is making a cool like electric plane. They're based out of San Diego. Um, they're doing something that's really cool like that. Um, there's a lot of companies out there that are doing cool electric plane stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad that there's electric planes out there because like whenever you look into the sky and then you see like a trail of like a
Cloud,
plane,
yeah, yeah,
a trail
yeah.
of cloud, but like what people what
What stupid people would call a chemtrail, yeah.
yeah, but isn't that just like emission like the all the freaking
No,
what is it?
what it actually is clouds that were formed because of the airplane. So
Mm.
the airplane flew through the sky, right? And it sucks in a ton of air through the front of the engine and it compresses it. And so when it came out the back, it cooled and condensed and there was enough water in the air that it formed a cloud because it kind of pressed it all sort of together, because that's really what clouds are, is just sort of water suspended
Mm-hmm.
in the sky. And so it has to do with the temperature and the pressure inside um, the the bypass duct, I would probably imagine, not the combustion chamber. But air. Okay, you've got to stop me, otherwise I'm going to start talking about the design of aircraft engines. Like, this is not.
Well, I was curious and I Google searched like because I know that airplanes use a lot of gas or oil
They use
fuel.
fuel.
Yeah, fuel. I don't know the difference, but according to this, global aviation industry produces around 2.1% of all human-induced carbon dioxide emissions. Aviation is responsible for 12% of CO2 emissions from all transportation sources, compared to 74% from road. That kind of surprised me, actually. Or actually, does it? I thought it would be higher, actually.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all,
Okay.
because you know what? Like, there's so many more cars than
Yeah,
there are planes. Like,
that's
there's
true.
just a shit ton of cars on the road. There's so many.
Yeah, something that shocked me when I first went to Shanghai back in like 2011 was the sheer amount of cars there were. It was this so many cars, and the fact that you know how LA there's a lot of cars.
Hmm.
It's more than LA, if you could believe that. And the cars go so close together, it's like you're like inches from hitting the other car.
That doesn't surprise me at all. That sounds a little bit like a really, really crowded day in London.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know what was going on that day, but it was super crowded in Hammersmith. I got on a bus, and the bus was packed to the brim, and we were sitting in traffic for like an hour between one stop, because it was that big of a standstill. It was ungodly, because it was like literally standing room only in the bus, right? It was
Oh, so you
crowded.
were standing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so I had to stand there in the bus for like an hour.
Was it a double decker bus?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is a double decker bus very Londony or British Englishy or something?
It's definitely very British. The British love their double decker buses. They really, really do, because they've got them all over. It's not even just in London, although
Mhm.
it's most commonly associated with London,
Yeah.
for good reason. They use a lot of them.
Yeah.
But you also see them in like Edinburgh. You see them in Oxford. You see them in I'm sure other places. I'm sure you probably see them in Manchester and Bristol and Liverpool and places like that. You probably see them all over the place.
Yeah, because I grew up in Hong Kong, right? And so they also have double decker buses. And one of my favorite things to do as a kid was go on the second level and then go to the very front.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
always fun.
It's super fun, and they purposely designed it that way so that the front of the second floor or second story has like these huge windows.
Yep.
So it's a great view of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you can see the bus drive through like the super small Hong Kong streets, and it's super cramped. And then to your sides, it's like super close. It's like these buildings that are like super tall and stuff. It's a pretty cool thing. It's like a little bit reminds me of like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, it's well, something that I think is really cool about Hong Kong. I don't know if it's the only one in the world, but I know it's the only one that I know about, is the only double-decker tram.
There's a double decker tram.
Yeah, there's a double-decker tram in Hong Kong. You can look it up. It's like a thing.
I'm gonna look it up.
I think that's really cool, because you often don't see sort of like light rail vehicles that are double decker. I think it's probably the only one that I would have ever seen in my life.
Oh wait, hold on. Like the ones that powered by electric. These ones?
Yeah. No, not that. It's something different. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called.
Because these called trams?
What? Yeah, that.
Yeah. These are very interesting. So these are only on Hong Kong Island. Oh, look at this one. This one's like a new concept one, but these are like the old school ones.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. The double decker trams on Hong
What
Kong.
is this? Oh wow, look at this. Tips over.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, these are very cool. They're very cheap, and hey, they're powered by electricity, so we know Elon will be happy about that. And they have a very unique system where the front is, you don't pay when you go in, you pay when you leave. I think it's very cool.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, it's
strange.
very strange. And then the layout's very cool inside too.
They look so cool. I love the aesthetic that they have. You can definitely tell they're a relic of the era of being a British colony. Um, it's just so fascinating, and I think it's one of those things I've never seen anywhere else in the world that has
Oh
that.
wait, London doesn't have this.
No, no, London does not have that.
Oh, like powered by the like electricity
No, that run
trams.
on rails.
Oh yeah, yeah, they run on rails. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. London doesn't have anything double decker that runs on rails.
Oh, interesting.
No.
I know SF does, and that's pretty historical.
Well,
Not double decker.
yeah, but exactly like the cable
The
cars.
cable
Yeah, the
car.
cable cars are really
Mm-hmm.
cool. I've been on those a couple times. Um, when you got to go up and down Powell Street, I guess you know.
Yeah.
So, when was the last time that you went to San Francisco? What did you what or like what was your first time actually? What was your first time in San Francisco like?
I don't remember. Hold on, let me think. Off the top of my head, I would say that other than going with family, which I barely did, the most memorable first time was back in high school that I went with my friends,
Mm.
and it was part of like a Asian club thing, and we went there to. We were sponsored by AT&T, so every Chinese New Year, I think, there's a Chinese New Year parade. So
Mm-hmm,
since it
mm-hmm.
was like the Asian Students Club or whatever back in high school, we would go to San Francisco and we would be part of the parade. And then we would have this like dance thing where we say like Gong Hei Fa Choi or like Xin Nian Huai Le or like Happy Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
And then we would walk in the parade, you know. It was pretty cool, and then like we would wave to people in the stands or whatever, like next to the watching the parade, and then we would be on live TV and stuff. So it was a very cool experience. And then before that, because it was always at night, like me and my friends were like hanging out around downtown SF, like go to the shops and stuff. And
Mm.
obviously didn't buy anything because we were broke high school students.
Right. I think that's pretty cool. I actually went to San Francisco the weekend of the Lunar New Year this year. Um, that was a nice sort of weekend trip for me. Um, all the transport was free on that weekend for Lunar New Year, um, which I really love. I don't know. It's sort of this sort of. I think it's a kind of a strange tradition that like transport systems are always free on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day,
Hmm.
and I like that San Francisco is culturally sensitive enough to take that to Lunar New Year as well.
Yeah, because San Francisco has like what, the oldest Chinatown
Yeah, one of the
in the
oldest
West.
Chinatowns in the
I know
West.
I
Yeah.
know the oldest one is in the Philippines or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, the oldest one. It was founded in like the year 1000 or something like
Oh
that.
my God, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I'll have to double check on that. But this is what I did. Basically there was a parade, and I didn't do anything cool like that, holding like a dragon. But you know, obviously, yep. So there's a parade, and I'll be in the middle. There would
I
be like a float, you know.
I would love to go to the parade. That would be super cool. I didn't get to go to the parade this year.
Yeah.
Even though I was in San Francisco that weekend, but I had something else to do.
Yeah, in the past few years they haven't had it because of COVID.
Yeah. Next year
Yeah,
we should go and see the parade. I
it's
think that would
pretty
be
cool.
really
Yeah.
fun. There's a lot of really good places to eat in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, I think SF's world renowned for their food. No.
I don't know, but I know that it's a lot better than what we have here in San Jose.
Yeah, San Jose. I don't know. We're the 10th largest city. We have a population bigger than SF, but for some reason, like San Francisco has like a restaurant scene like 3 times better, five
Because
times
it's-
better.
because it's denser.
Mhm.
I would say the population density in San Francisco is so much higher than it is here, and I think that's the fact that things are spread out makes it less cosmopolitan, right? It's sort of like how New York is the most cosmopolitan place in North America, or especially in the United States. And it's because it's so dense. It's so tightly packed into this little tiny area. And I feel like when it's more spread out, the less urban a city is, the less likely it is to have all that cool stuff. I think really that's what people look for when they say, like, I want to move to the big city.
Yeah.
People don't want to move to a spread out, miserable place. Like they want to move somewhere where it's really dense and there's tons of people and
Something's happening every
something's
night.
always happening.
Yeah.
So there's always so much, places are packed and there's things to do and things to see, and there's so much, right? That's what makes cities like London and Tokyo and New York and Hong Kong really incredible, is that there's always something to do. And San Francisco too, right? There's always something crazy going on in San Francisco. You can always find something to do.
What's your favorite thing to do in San Francisco?
Go to the gay clubs.
I know that you had an interesting experience last time you were there. What can you tell me about it?
Oh my god, I cannot talk about that.
You can't?
That is Patreon exclusive content.
Okay.
Um
I thought we were going balls to the wall. So.
No, not about that. That's too
Okay,
wet.
too soon. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. But favorite gay clubs, like, why do you like going to the gay clubs there?
It's where all the gays go, right? Like people, when you go to the gay bar in San Jose, it's like empty. Like there's
No. Splash was like popping like a couple weeks ago. We passed by.
Yes, Splash is popping on like a Friday night.
Yeah.
But like everybody and their mama brings their straight friends. Like, not like when you go there, the percentage of gay people is less than when you're at a San Francisco gay club, because all the gays, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like the San Francisco ones are better.
They're just more lit.
Yeah.
Like
It's
occasionally you'll find like a dude blowing another dude in the bathroom.
Oh, that happens in San Jose too, but like that's a story for another time.
So wait, you've seen this happen.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I think but what other things about SF do you like?
I really like that they have a very effective public transport system.
Yeah.
So that way, when I go to the gay club and I get super drunk, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get home, or like think about how expensive an Uber or a Lyft would be. Yeah. I like that the public transit goes enough places that I can take the public transit home. Another thing that I really like about San Francisco is the architecture. I love all those like old school San Francisco houses, with the bay windows, and they're all painted Victorian homes. They just look so fascinating. It's such a unique place architecturally. And I also love that it's like cold. Because to me, I don't like hot weather.
Yeah, it's cold year round.
Yeah,
because water surrounds it on three sides, so then it's like a insulator or whatever it's called. Keeps the city cool.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a little bit cold for me, but I know you have the cold tolerance of above average person.
Yeah.
It'll be like 50 degrees or 40 degrees, and you could just be wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah, I will.
It would be perfectly warm.
Yep.
Cool.
Something I don't like about San Francisco, though, is it is dirty. It is very dirty. I can't tell you how many places you go and the streets are just littered with trash, and it just smells bad, and like that part is not great. I think it's crazy how expensive San Francisco is for being a city where it's so unpleasant sometimes. You would think that if you're paying that much to live somewhere, that it would be nicer.
Have you been to the Tenderloin district?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I went to San Francisco one time. This was last summer, and my friend took me there. He said that the best restaurant, or one of the best restaurants in SF, this soul food place, is in the Tenderloin. So we went there, and man, that was shocking, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we ended up going somewhere else because I didn't want to park my car there.
Yeah, south of Market is kind of yep, it's a little different.
Hmm.
Um, you can really tell the difference between like south of Market and like Fisherman's Wharf, right? The wharf area is so because it's packed with tourists, right? They keep it clean and they make it photogenic, right? Because people come there on vacation.
Yeah.
And so interesting that like, but honestly, that place is such a tourist trap. Like personally, I haven't gone there like the last 5 times that I've been to San Francisco just because I'm like, why would I go there? It's just like,
The water smells like the ocean. There's lots of seagulls everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
But hey, it's like famous, right? Like the fisherman, the
oh
clam chowder,
yeah,
I
no,
think.
that's cool.
Sourdough.
To go
It's
to
world
like
famous.
Bowden or whatever.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
But like it just to me, it's kind of an overpriced gimmick. Like it just feels overdone. It's like when you go to LA and you go to the Walk of Fame and like everything there is like you could get like a bottle of water and it's like $15. Like it's just tourist traps are so money draining. They're so bad. It's so much nicer to just go to a place that locals go to because it's a lot more affordable and it's a lot realer. Um, I like to go to places in I mean, I guess honestly, like even Castro is kind of a tourist trap now, like a gay tourist trap.
What's Castro?
Castro is the gay area in San Francisco. Um, every major city has a Gaybourhood, right? In LA, it's West Hollywood. In New York, it's like Soho. In San Francisco, it's the Castro. In San Diego, it's Hillcrest, right? Like every in Miami, it's like South Miami Beach, right? Like every major city has a Gaybourhood, and in San Francisco, it's Castro. And there's a lot of places that totally use the fact that they're a location in Castro just to get gay people to go there. Um, and like, I mean, fair enough. Some of these places actually do have the history and the reputation that make it worth it, and some of these places do not.
Mm.
Right? Some of these places are like, "Huh, come and visit this really important gay rights place," and it's not actually an important gay rights place. But then some of it is. But I guess who am I to talk? Because like being in Castro in itself sort of is a sort of historic gay rights thing because of the function that the neighborhood served for decades when gay people couldn't walk around and just be open about being gay. So like that's why Gaybourhoods exists. Even it's supposed to be a safe place to be who you are. But now their function is mainly to just host gay clubs and
Mm-hmm.
extort money out of gay people.
Dude, one of my favorite, or the best fish and chips I've ever had is this place near Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. So good.
The Cod Mother.
The Cod Mother. Yeah.
I've heard of this place.
Oh,
I've never
really?
been. I heard it's pretty good.
It's amazing.
I'll have to go. The best fish and chips that I've ever had was in a place called Pier 23 Cafe.
Where's that at?
San Francisco.
Oh.
Surprisingly, well, it's the best American fish and chips that I've ever had.
Oh, you've had better in Britain.
In Britain, of course.
What?
So I think, it's British food. It would be weird if they didn't do it better.
I thought it was Icelandic food.
It's British food.
I remember that Johnny
It's
Harris
definitely
video.
British food.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, their fish and chips is kind of like our fried chicken.
Yeah. Yeah, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's their they love it and it's very good. It's very 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 good.
I
Um,
agree.
I you know what? I love a good fish and chips. I feel like it's an underrated food in America. Like I feel like not enough people value a good fish and
W-
chips in America.
America doesn't have a fast food chain that's fish and chips.
We used to. We used to have like Long John Silver's.
Wait, what? Long John Silver? What happened to it?
It just didn't do well. Like people didn't like it
Oh,
that much, so it sort of kind of faded. There are locations still left, I think, but like the one that I grew up near doesn't exist anymore. Or like Arby's restaurants, those are disappearing.
Arby's? We got the meats.
Yeah, we got the meats.
I've never been to an Arby's. How do you feel
Um,
about Arby's?
they're okay, I guess. They're a little different. Um, I think it's supposed to be more like deli kind of hot food type things, and I feel like that's I feel like they compete against like the burger market, and I feel like they're a different market, and they need people don't separate it in their mind enough. I think is
I guess I've never been to Arby's because I just watch the commercials and I'm just like, if I go there, I'm gonna get a heart attack from eating all the meats. Like, cause like, what do they do to it? They put like 5 slices of ham and like 2 pieces of bacon and like a burger patty. Like they stack the crap out of that thing.
They do. They absolutely do. I think the stuff is pretty good. A lot of people hate it. I don't know why. I don't know where the cliche about Arby's being bad comes from because personally I didn't think it was that bad.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, they're not doing well because people don't respond well to it for some reason. Um,
Yeah, let's take a look at the website. Keep talking.
okay. So,
6-piece boneless.
ooh.
You like boneless wings, right?
I do like boneless wings.
What do you prefer, boneless or bone in?
I feel like,
Yeah.
to me, I know hot takes. I prefer bone in.
Oh, you prefer bone in?
Yeah.
No, that's not a hot take. Because the real hot take is if you prefer boneless.
I don't know. It's such a contentious argument. And I don't even know why. Like, I just feel like if you're gonna get boneless wings, don't get wings. Just get nugs. At that point, like,
Ooh, this looks good right here. Look at this. Smokehouse.
ooh,
Look
that
at
looks
that.
very
Look,
good.
that's all meat. Like there's just no vegetables on it.
Nope. There is not.
But this looks really good, actually.
It looks very tasty.
No, but it's supposed to. It's like marketing. You know?
Yeah, no, of course. Everything always looks better in the picture than it ends up looking in real life.
Yeah.
Um, I would love to. I don't know why I just thought of this because I guess earlier today I was watching a video where
Mhm.
somebody made their own version of the Chick-fil-A sandwich. And so now I'm like, I would love to try to do that, to make my own version of the Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Mhm.
With like fresh bread and like frying my own chicken and everything like that. I feel like that would be really cool to kind of do, and try it and see how good of a sandwich I can make and if it's worth it compared to just going to Chick-fil-A. And I'm sure the answer will be no.
And we're back. So, for the last segment of this episode, I thought it would be fun if we do a little Would You Rather game and we can both talk about it. You guys listening at home, you can play with us and kind of go along with it as well. So, here's the first one. Evan, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Would you rather lead a boring life from here on forward or be reborn with all your memories into a baby of the opposite sex? I think this is very easy.
I feel like I know what you're gonna go for. I feel like you're gonna go with the be born as an opposite sex with all your memories.
Yeah. Cause think of how far ahead you would be.
I don't know. Like, do I want to be a girl? Do I want to have a period? Like, do I want the cramps? Do I need that? Like, from the way that it's been described to me by women before, it doesn't sound pleasant.
No, definitely not. I'm very glad that Yeah, I don't have
So
to deal with
I
that.
don't know. To me, I think this is kind of a hard choice. I think I'm gonna go with live a boring life because
Okay.
for me that means my life doesn't change much.
How come I can't change? Let's go to the next one. All right. Would you rather see how or what created civilization, or see how or what ends civilization?
How or what ends civilization?
Why?
I feel like how or what created civilization has no effect on my life,
Mm-hmm.
whereas depending on how or what ends civilization, that could have an impact
I mean,
on
we
my
already
life.
know what's gonna end civilization.
Climate change.
TikTok. Kidding. Okay. Would you rather win an Oscar or win the Nobel Peace Prize?
Oh, definitely Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, it doesn't say Nobel Peace Prize. Just win the Nobel Prize.
Oh, I'd rather have a Nobel Prize.
Okay. Oh, you're in the majority. All right. Would you rather be a hawk or be a shark?
I feel like I'd rather be a hawk because I can fly, and that's cool.
Me too. I choose hawk. Because flying, of course.
Yeah.
And then shark, like eating all those microplastics in the freaking ocean, you know,
Yeah.
getting caught by some like Asian fishermen for your shark fin soup.
My God.
Right? Like,
Jesus.
and then, no, you know what they do, right? Is that they cut your fin off and the rest of your body is not useful. So they throw you back in. But then when you throw you back in, the sharks can't swim without the fin, right? So they're just like freaking laying there.
So they just float there and die.
They just float there and die from like starvation or something.
That's miserable. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's
I'm definitely going to go with hawk.
yeah. Hey, some people want to be a shark. Okay. Did you know that sharks aren't even the apex predators of the ocean?
What is?
Yeah, I think orcas hunt them down. Like orcas will eat them.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then fuck with them too, because orcas are like bigger, stronger, and faster, and they also have the numbers because they work in groups, and sharks are like solitary.
That's really terrifying, actually.
All right, would you rather have extremely muscular arms or extremely muscular legs?
I feel like I'm gonna go with legs.
Why
What-
legs?
Better to have sex with, like better like that's such a huge boost to like your ability to continue to have sex for like your stamina for hours because you have like really powerful legs.
Like thrusting.
Yeah.
Any other reasons other than just sex?
No.
Do extremely muscular arms help with sex though?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think. Okay. All right. Let's see if you're right. Oh wow, you were in the minority in this one.
What about you?
I would have legs as well, because I feel like legs. You could do a lot more running with those, and like you could traverse very well and like go hiking and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Ash keeps telling me that muscular legs boost testosterone or something.
Okay.
So I think that would be pretty cool. All right. And then I feel like big arms don't really look good on me, to be honest. Like I have a pretty small frame. So,
I admittedly I was kind of thinking that too. Like what would look better on me? My regular body with obscenely large arms, or my regular body with obscenely large legs? And I feel like legs makes more sense for me.
Legs are definitely underappreciated. Okay, because you don't really like look at those or whatever, you know. All right, would you rather have holes put through both hands and both feet via nails and hammer, or go 40 days in the desert without food? What the? This one's weird.
It's very biblical.
It's biblical and it's just like torture.
I think I'm gonna say the hands and the feet
Oh.
because it's you get the suffering over at once instead of having to like suffer for a month.
Okay, I don't even want to answer this one. But yeah, you have a point. Like, will you even survive after that?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of pain. You're definitely gonna pass out from pain, though, I think.
Oh yeah.
Most people would like to go to the desert. All right, last one. Oh, speak only in words that begin with H. So you're gonna like that one, or not be able to say any words that have the letter. This one's so boring. Can we skip this one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, have a lightsaber or have a phaser in Star Trek.
Definitely lightsaber. Lightsabers are a lot cooler.
Wait, what's a phaser in Star Trek?
It's like a gun.
Oh, like the
Yeah. Set phasers to stun.
ah.
Very. It's not as cool as a lightsaber.
But the thing with a lightsaber is you need the force to wield it. So
You right. Maybe I should go with the phaser because anybody can use that.
yeah, you could just point and shoot, and then a lightsaber. Think of all the harm and damage you could do with it.
True, and like also like to wield a lightsaber, you also have to have a skill.
Yeah.
Whereas like I feel like most people can like shoot a gun sufficiently well that it's easier to just have a phaser.
Oh wow, look at this. The other people did not think this through like we did.
Yeah, I know. We took our time to think about the realities of it.
Yep. Well, I think that will. Hey guys, Future Jason here in the editing room. Thank you guys for listening to our podcast. Unfortunately, our audio cuts off here, but all we talk about is just follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. Thank you guys for listening.